What's going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here, James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm MLB DFS Game Day Playbook Preview Show. We're looking at the Monday 6-game main slate here over on DraftKings. Could be a little bit of a smaller slate. We do have some weather about in the Boston area and Minnesota, also showing the potential for some rain. So you have to follow back in at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Myself and Grande go live to break down the latest news, including the weather, to see exactly how much of an impact, if any, that rain will have on those two games. But for it being just 6 games here, we have some pretty interesting matchups to go over, which includes Coors Field on this slate as the Marlins head into Colorado for a week of Coors Field as the Colorado starts a homestand here on Monday.
Yeah, interesting 6-gamer. Not exactly top-tier pitching, but there's some solid depth. And, of course, the Marlins are in Coors. That's always super fun.
Super fun.
The Marlins. I mean, this is like the White
offense,
Sox.
Bad offense in Coors. It's like which one wins out here?
Yeah. Hopefully the White Sox don't. I think the White Sox already got their series out of the way here, so we don't have to worry about that for the rest of the year.
Bailey Ober is your top price starting pitcher, $9,200. Then jumps down to Bryce Miller at home against Tampa Bay at $8,900. Max Fried, Nick Pivetta, Ryan Pepio, and Jose Barrios round out the 8K tiers you mentioned. No top price guys, nobody over 10K here. 92 is your top overall starter with Ober. Looking at this 8K and above range, I think it's pretty easy to like that Tampa Bay Seattle matchup from a pitching standpoint.
Yeah. Like you can play Ober 9,200. That's fine. He has a ceiling. We've talked about how much Atlanta strikes out against right-handed pitching and how much they've struggled against them. So you could play Ober if you want, but he's a clear pivot off of Miller and Pepio, who have been good. Miller struggled in that Dodgers start. That happens. Dodgers are good. But the starts prior, 13 scoreless innings, 15 strikeouts, 1 walk. He just doesn't walk a lot of people. He just doesn't offer a ton of power and essentially none of that at home. I mean, 18 walks at home in 77 innings, 4 home runs at home. So Bryce Miller 8,900 makes a lot of sense. A lot of strikeout appeal. And then Pepio, conversely, he has a lot of strikeout appeal as well. 8,200, $100 cheaper after coming off another really nice start, back-to-back starts, and just a string of starts, surrounding an IL stint for him. So, Pepio and Miller are the obvious two that people are going to gravitate to. I do think Ober's fine in tournaments. Max Fried looked like Max Fried, of course, after we finally were like, yeah, fine, go pick on Max Fried. Well,
yeah,
he was good. A lot of ground balls, really pitched really deep into games against the number 1 team against left-handed pitching. So Minnesota, not that team. I know overall this year, they're 7th in terms of OPS against left-handed pitching, but they have not been that good in the latter stages of the year. I'm okay with Fried, Pivetta. I say that I feel like I'm a broken record when it comes to Nick Pivetta, but I feel the same because he provides us with the same. He is just incredibly up and down. He is in a GPP play always through and through because he's allowed 5 home runs or 2 home runs in 5 straight games. And in that he has a 10 strikeout game in there, right? He has 3 10 strikeout games in his last 8 starts. He has an immensely high ceiling. He also has a negative floor. So good with Pivetta and Barrios at 8K. He's probably in the best stretch of his season, maybe in the last couple seasons. But I don't think you want to test your luck against Boston.
Yeah, not really testing. I know obviously Arizona's pitching did fairly well against the Red Sox over the weekend, but Boston versus righties has been a tough spot. I mean, it doesn't get much better after that against a small slate. We have a $4,000 pitcher on this slate, Ty Madden, called up from AAA to make this start against Chicago. 4K pitcher on a 6-game slate here, James.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to plug a 4K pitcher when he's going to be stretched out. I mean,
I saw the numbers, yeah.
So like there's obviously good 102 strikeouts in 79 innings. He also has an 8 ERA and a 1.7 WHIP,
Yeah.
right?
You
Now
gotta wonder, like, they had nobody else to call up here.
it's the White Sox,
Yeah.
and there are a lot of strikeouts,
Yeah.
right?
He pitched a lot better at Double-A this year. He had 4 starts, just a 2.55 ERA, but his Triple-A, honestly, 18 start sample size, by the way. 17 homers in 18 starts, 100 hits in 79 innings. So like Triple-A really got the better of him. But all through the rest of the Tigers minor league, he's been pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Like the step up was that dramatic. He's a first round pick 2 years ago. So, you know,
I mean, it's not encouraging that he stepped up and he's just getting shelled, right? Like,
right.
because I know, like, this isn't like the worst test ever. He gets the worst team maybe ever. Probably no better time to get your first taste of big league action, right? Is the White Sox.
Yeah.
Um, but like, just naturally, he has $4,000. He has minimum salary on a core slate, right? There is intrigue, whether we look at the numbers or not. He's stretched out. He has missed a lot of bats in terms of strikeouts at the minor league level. I'm interested. Like I'm interested. It's the White Sox, right? Just
4K versus the White Sox. I think it's always worth a dart throw on these slates. You
yes.
also have a guy that you've been higher on this year, Edward Cabrera, but he's going into cores. Would you chase the strikeout upside here?
You can. He's been a little up and down.
Sure.
He did have 9 strikeouts against them, and that just speaks to, not that I think this is anywhere the same because that was in May, but it does speak to how high the Rockies strikeout ceiling can be and is. So maybe in tournaments. I feel like at that point though, I would just punt, right? You just save $2,200. You're taking a shot on, is there much difference between Ty Madden and Edward Cabrera? One's pitching Coors and one's facing the White Sox. Like I'd probably take the guy facing the White Sox.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, is there much of a difference? One guy struggling at the major league level, one guy was terrible at the AAA level.
Yeah, it's just it's just like you're saving $2,200
Yeah,
and you're avoiding Coors in that
agreed.
scenario. That's the only difference.
Would you go Davis Martin here on the other side, who has actually pitched relatively well for the White Sox?
I don't know. It's a little scary. There's been a lot of walks. Um, and Detroit has been, I've been pretty impressed with Detroit offensively lately, especially, I mean, they called everyone up and right, they're just letting them play. They hit Jace Young 5th on Sunday. Davis Martin, 3.22 ERA, 4.44 xFIP. About a strikeout per inning, 5 walks per 9 innings is obviously concerning. 31% hard hit rate, 57% medium contact. That's a lot of ground balls. I mean, it's okay.
Yep.
I prefer.
Mostly.
Well, he seems like he's largely getting lucky, but 47% ground ball rate's pretty good.
Sure. Catcher. Small slate. We'll look for the matchups to attack, especially when the lineups come out. Any interesting matchups that you're looking to target, especially here?
I mean, Alejandro Kirk
Sure.
probably homered on Sunday, 2 RBIs Saturday. That would probably be your first name, and then
Yeah, good price tag on him. Then maybe the cores guys, depending on who's in and out.
yep, Corey Lee 2,400.
Corey Lee for sure. I mean, listen, if there was ever a time to play White Sox, right? It'd be against Ty Madden if he's not in your lineup.
Yeah.
First base, sort of the same deal here. Vladdy, I think stacking against Pivetta is going to be super popular. Assuming this game is on the slate, because again, we got to figure out what the weather's going to look like here. You got Berger in Coors, the Coors Field bump of $5,600. Toglia at $5,300 against Cabrera there. Casas homered again. He homered on Sunday. You got him at $5K. So definitely a decent tier of guys here.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like them all. Vladdy is really going to be really solid. Jake Berger should be really popular. He slowed down a little bit, but I mean, we know what the Jake Berger power is. Olsen in tournaments is always in play. Tolia is really interesting. He's had a really, really good month of August outside of the Sunday slate. He has had his best month this year easily. So if you want to play Tolia, he's been
Making
good.
my Tolia rookie autograph card looking more
Yeah,
valuable these days, you know?
dude, he's been good. Future Yankee Mike Tolia from New York.
Could very well be, right? He's probably locked down to Colorado for a little bit.
Hit a home run. He grew up a Yankees fan. His parents were in attendance. Gave his dad the ball.
When his arbitration's over in 8 years, I'm sure he'll head his way.
Yeah, Costas $50 or $5,000 is really intriguing. Barrios has been worse against righties this year, but he's been super good since returning from the IL at Tristan Casas. So it was only a matter of time before the home run started to fly as well.
Yeah, because he's seen a ton of home runs before he hurt himself. So
yeah, yep,
for sure. Then obviously pricing in the mid tier, smaller slate. So some matchups. Cronenworth against Gibson's like fine. You have Jonah Bride at 43 because it's in Coors against Feltner. Horowitz 41, Torkelson 4K. I think any of those guys are perfectly okay in a lineup build.
Yeah, Horowitz, Torkelson were the two guys I looked at. Bride at 43 is fine, but he has been better against right-handed pitching, so you have that. Carlos Santana 3,600, is a lefty masher. Andrew Vaughn's been pretty good of late. Hits in 4 straight. Nearly an 800 OPS his last 10. If you want to play some White Sox, Andrew Vaughn's really cheap. You can play him. I don't think there's like much else.
Yeah, I mean Gavin Sheets is down here at 28.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, if you're just going against him, he's a pretty good 333, 800
yeah.
OPS. I don't know the splits of this kid, Madden, at AAA, but I am sure everybody is hammering him. So,
I mean, you said he allowed how many home runs? 17?
17 and 18 games with 100 hits in 18 games. So I'm sure both splits are hammering him.
Let's see. We got it here. Righties are really crushing him. Right-handed, crushing him.
Big 600. What are they doing?
So they have hit 12 of 18 home runs in fewer at bats. By the way, so they've hit 6 more home runs in 20 and 30 fewer plate appearances. They're hitting 318 with a 619 slug and a 987 OPS. Okay. And honestly, the White Sox best 2 hitters, Andrew Vaughn, Luis Robert. So
good luck.
Good luck.
Second base, you have Lau and
actually, John, I got one.
Okay.
I forgot. You know what? Lukenbaker's a righty. The Cardinals called up Lukenbaker. Maybe he'll start here. Stone cold min salary. If their Padres are recalling Randy Vasquez.
Yeah.
Or they're recalling him, right? Didn't he get sent down?
I honestly have lost track of his movements, to be honest.
Yeah, he's been sent down.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is official, but obviously he's listed here, and I believe he's listed on he's also listed on Fangraphs. So looks like Randy Vasquez is going to start. I know Randy Vasquez has obviously been bad against lefties, but he's kind of just been bad. So if Lukenbaker made a start at $2,000, this is like our Nico Cavadas play here.
Right. Yep, agreed. Second base, again, on a smaller slate, not a lot of great options. So we just kind of, for me at least, I just go back down to the value, and you have Will Wagner hitting $2,500 against Pivetta.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot above $4,000 at all. Brendan Donovan, 39. Connor Norby, I said it to you like last week. They don't know how to rate Connor Norby. There was like a report that basically came out and said like nobody knows if Connor Norby is a good prospect or not. So there was critiques on the trade, and Connor Norby's slid into the leadoff spot for the Marlins and has promptly the last 3 days hit 2 home runs, has 4 extra base hits, and has a stolen base as well atop the Marlins lineup. So Connor Norby, 3,700, second base, third base, hits in 7 straight games, 6 runs scored in the last 4 games with a bunch of hits. I love him for.
Sure. That works for me. Anybody else? Obviously going the Detroit Chicago game. I mean, I guess anybody in that one could be an option.
Yeah, Cole Keith's been amazing. Cole Keith's had a great series so far against the White Sox, and he's hitting right in the middle of that lineup.
7 RBIs over the last 3 games, so good spot for him there. Third base, then Devers, he homered on Sunday. Obviously, Vladdy with the third base eligibility, Berger with the third base eligibility, Royce Lewis at 55, Machado at 52, and McMahon's 48. I'll lump him in there because of the Coors Field righty-lefty matchup for him.
Yeah, you could always play Devers. We talked Vladdy, we talked Berger. Royce Lewis, lefty at home. That's the spot. This is like the Willy Adames spot, but reverse. Lefty at home has been the Royce Lewis thing. He has absolutely mashed baseballs at home this year. Just one of those players. 346, 1,200 OPS at home, 200, 690 OPS on the road. So if you want to play him and hope there's a home run, I think that's fine. Machado going to have end up with a really good season. I don't think I'm going to pay $5,200 for him, but you can. And Ryan McMahon, another guy. Sure, he's in Coors. Maybe the most unappealing, like near 5K player all year long. Ryan is right.
Yeah, works for me. You mentioned Norby already. He's got dual positional eligibility. Ernie Clement's 39.
I mean, all aboard. I don't care if Bryce Miller's pitching. Junior Caminero, and I tweeted it. If you hadn't hopped on the Junior Caminero bandwagon, that's left the station. Like, that train is long gone because every baseball he hit or was pitched in LA this weekend, he absolutely mashed. Every single one. Singles, doubles, outs, every single one.
The first homer he hit with the opposing announcer was like, that was loud.
That was literally just said that was loud. And like while he was talking about it, he's like, they said it would be, and then it was. It's like, there are people that are different, like hitting off the bat, right? Like this guy, 3,200. I don't care about the Seattle spot when you see the power. I mean, the second home run he hit was like literal laser beam. Like, that's not going to matter in Seattle air because it's just going to laser beams, right? So
if you make contact, you're going to be good.
Yeah, he's 3,200. I'm just going to default play him as long as he's 3,200.
Jace Jung's down here. They're 25 as well if you want to just punch.
Hit fifth.
Yep.
And I'll throw out Addison Barger as well. Homers in 2 of his last 3 games.
Where's he at?
He's 26. Third base outfield, 26. Had a really good series against the Angels.
Sure.
Dude, if Pavetta's going to continue to give up 2 home runs per start. And
Toronto doesn't really strike out, so just a thing there. Shortstop. Tovar is your top price shortstop. $5,600. Xavier Edwards got hurt the other day. I don't know if he's going to be in the lineup or not for this one. Castro's good versus lefties, 46. It's another position that is very uninspiring and a lot of injuries. So,
yeah, I mean, you can always play Mason Wynn if you're going to be contrarian. I mean, Ernie Clement, obviously, like the power surge was going to run out, but has hit 4 in his last 10 games. He is fine. Caballero, random like 2-run home run in extra innings the other day. Weird, like kind of power speedy.
Yeah.
Arcia only hits against righties. He'll be 1% owned. McKinstry is a little bit interesting. He has been really solid lately, and it's mostly because he gets on and he's been running.
Yeah.
But a lot of hits lately and a lot of stolen bases. 2,700 multi-position eligible. I mean,
certainly don't mind it.
5 straight games or 5 of 6 games in which he's had double-digit fantasy points. The only one he didn't start.
Yeah, that's fine.
And Trey Sweeney, 24.
Yeah, you got Sweeney, Leo Jimenez if he's in the lineup. Just has power upside with the recent run of him against Pavetta. Outfield, you have all your Coors Field bumps. You have Duran versus Berrios, Ozuna, O'Neill. Again, it's not your usual Studley lineup outfield position like we have on these large slates. What are some of your go-to spots here?
I mean, I'm good with any of the top names, really. Doyle, we've talked about the Doyle splits at home all year long, right? We've talked Brent Doyle at home has been amazing. That hasn't let us down, and he's been really good on the road recently as well. So, good with Grande Doyle, good with getting to Jaron Duran. Boston, this is a tough spot for Jose Barrios. Tyler, welcome back, Tyler O'Neill. He homered on Sunday. It's a righty, but that has been where Barrios has struggled more this year.
Mm-hmm.
I if I'm not like Davis Martin is interesting, but also the Tigers are interesting. Riley Green's had a nice little 4-game stretch. I'd look at him at 51. Can always play Ozuna.
Yeah, Jackson Merrill walk-off homer today.
I mean, that kid is just what is it? He just has different. There's just people that are. I don't know if
Dude, he
like
won the job to begin the year outright, played center field, and he had a little slow to get, and he's been unbelievable for the last 2 months,
But
right?
it's like I don't know if it's like people do. I don't know if there's such a thing as like a clutch gene. I don't know if I believe that necessarily, but I do believe that there's like certain people in the world that are just more calm than others in like
Sure.
very tense situations, and they can like control their brains and their bodies and slow that down like better than other people, and that's why
Sure.
there are people that are where they are in their fields. He is definitely one of those people because he is ridiculous in late inning situations. I mean, how many times has he in the last couple months tied or taken a lead in like a home
Yeah.
run or a double or whatever? So
Yeah, defensively or offensively, he's gone
yeah,
out there and made plays. So,
dude, it's crazy.
yep.
He's a special baseball player.
So you got all of Detroit. You mentioned Riley Green, but obviously Carpenter and Parker Meadows are going to be very, for me at least, guys that I'm looking to get into lineups. Dalton Varsho's $4,200 there as well against Pivetta. Having the matchup for him, some power, some speed. Anybody else in the 4K under range?
Yeah, dude, Luis Robert, 4,200. He's been amazing. I don't know what happened to Luis Robert, and I don't know if like he realized like maybe I should like care a little bit more. But he's had a lot of multi-hit games. Obviously, the power, other than the 2 home run game in Houston, really hasn't been there. But he's running a lot. Does have double down upside, and he has 4 multi-hit games in his last 5. And we just talked about it. Like Ty Madden, all the splits suggest righties are what's killing him. So insert best player on other team happens to be a righty. Luis Robert 4,200. I think is a
Sure. Love that
kind of
play.
elite play.
You got Jesus Sanchez in Coors, a lot of power going to be in that spot for him at 4K.
Yep.
Not getting any Coors Field bump in terms of pricing. Homered on Sunday, so maybe a little locked in play at 4K. Brendan Donovan, you get any of the lefties for St. Louis against Vasquez here? Burleson, Donovan, was Newpart a lefty too down here?
Yes.
Yeah, so any of the Randy Vasquez stats we've been tacking all season long against lefties, so why not run right back to it, right?
Yeah. It's interesting. I'm like interested in teams here because I like your Seattle call or St. Louis call. I like Detroit. Matt Vierling. I know it's righty, but Matt Vierling has been awesome for
Yeah,
Detroit of
some
late.
power speed there.
And then you have the Meadows shout, as you mentioned, for $3,500. He's been unreal of late. So
Yeah.
I like a lot of these names. Stowers will be a little bit interesting, I think. Like if you want some cheap Miami, I could see some ownership gravitating to him just to save some money if needed. I don't know if you necessarily on this slate need it. You've talked about it, like not a lot of like elite talent, so
David Hensley's been okay of late. Homer and 3 hits in
Yep.
2 of the last 3 games. He was in there. Loper Fido, 2,800.
He has also been unreal.
Yep.
This is a highly coveted prospect, right?
You get everyday playing time, and these guys will settle in, right?
Yeah. And he had like fairly good numbers early on with Houston when he was playing every day, and then it just kind of sputtered out, right? Because he wasn't. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested in.
All right, let's get a lineup then. Start with Luis Robert here. I guess that just makes the most sense.
Yeah, I mean, it just like I'm good with. The unfortunate part about pitching is the best 2 pitchers face each other here, right?
Yeah, but on the slate, like sometimes that's okay, right? On a smaller slate.
I'm not saying I'm not willing to use them both. I'm also just suggesting that they are, I think,
Sure.
best two.
I mean, like, if you, I don't know who else you would, what your other, it's either Ober or Freed, right? Like, if you're not using both of these guys, it's one or the other.
Unless you're punting Ty Madden, but in this example, we're using Luis Robert. So,
do you want to punt Ty Madden?
I like Luis Robert.
Okay. We go Kirk here. What do we want to do? Third base was Caminero. We're doing Miller though, so we can't do Caminero.
Well, I like Norby.
First base. Are we going after Pivetta here? Are we Toglia versus Cabrera?
A lot of power. I mean, there's been a lot of power against Pivetta lately. 2 home runs in 5 straight starts.
For Vladdy?
Pivetta has allowed 2 home runs in 5 straight starts. So I'm good on Vladdy for sure. That'll be one of the top spend ups this slate. Not a great position.
Play Tovar.
We can play Tovar. We could punt the position.
Punted with
Sweeney or Jimenez just to. I like Coors in this spot. Not that I like the pricing, but like Jesus Sanchez at $4,000.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. You have Sanchez at 4K, right?
I feel like there's like pretty good.
Can't spell.
Typing is tough.
Typing can be hard, yeah.
Especially when you do it for a living.
39 if you did Tovar there.
I mean that puts us in. Yeah, I mean that puts us in all that range, the Detroit / St. Louis range.
I like Parker Meadows here. He'll lead off.
Yep.
So $400 left over. Anything else you would do here?
No, unfortunately we can't play Dylan Cruz. He's not on the main slate for his debut, but
true. All right, we're gonna stack pitching. Miller and Pepio, Kirk, Guerrero, Wagner, Norby, Tovar, Robert, Sanchez, and Meadows stacking Toronto, getting some Coors Field exposure there with a Lewis Robert one-off. We'll be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Henry Wilson will be on your playbooks. Look out for that. We'll catch you later.